If you don't train your mind, the world will train it for you and you won't like the results. Most people never stop to think about how their mind works. They just live in reaction mode, stressed, distracted, overwhelmed, and pulled in every direction. They keep wondering why they feel stuck, why they can't stay focused, or why they keep repeating the same mistakes. The answer is simple. They've never taken the time to train their mind. Your mind controls how you feel, how you act, and what you believe about yourself. If you don't take control of it, it will follow old habits, fears, and other people's opinions. You'll keep living the same problems again and again. This is your moment to change that. In this video, you're going to learn how to take back control step by step. You'll understand what drains your mind, how to rebuild your focus, and what to do daily to stay mentally strong. No fluff, no empty motivation, just real talk that works. Stay locked in because this will shift the way you think forever. Chapter 1. Take control of your mind before it controls you. Take control of your mind before it controls you. That's not just a good idea. That's survival in today's world. Every day your mind is being pulled in 100 directions. You wake up and your phone is already demanding your attention. You look online and the world is shouting at you. News, opinions, distractions, one after another. And if you're not careful, your mind starts running on its own, chasing things that don't matter, worrying about problems that haven't even happened, and wasting energy on people who don't care. You've got to stop and realize something important. Your mind will work for you or against you. And it depends entirely on whether you're in charge. Most people go through life reacting. They feel something, they follow it, they hear something, they believe it. That's not training the mind. That's being a slave to it. And if you don't take the time to train your mind, it will run your life without your permission. Taking control of your mind is not a trick. It's a skill. You build it like you build anything else, with focus, repetition, and intention. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Every day, ask yourself this. Am I leading my thoughts or are my thoughts leading me? That question can change your life. Because if your thoughts are leading you and you haven't chosen them carefully, they're probably leading you to fear, confusion, laziness, and regret. See, your mind has patterns. If you always think negative, you'll start to expect bad things, even when good things happen. If you always doubt yourself, you'll reject opportunity before it even knocks. That's the trap. Most people have been thinking the same way for years and they think it's just who they are. No, that's not who you are. That's just how your mind has been trained. And what's trained can be retrained. You can rewire your habits, one decision at a time. Now, I'll tell you something. Most people want change, but they don't want effort. They want peace, but they don't want discipline. They want clarity, but they refuse to stop the noise. But real growth starts when you stop running from your own mind and start facing it. Sit down with it. Listen to what it's been telling you. And then take control. The first step is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. So take 5 minutes each day and just watch your thoughts. Don't judge them. Just watch. You'll be shocked at how often your mind pulls you in directions you didn't agree to. That's when you realize most of your stress is not about your life. It's about your thinking. The second step is decision. Make a decision that your mind will be your tool, not your master. That means you choose what to focus on. You decide what deserves your attention. You don't let the world tell you who you are. You don't let every bad mood become your identity. You say, "This is my mind, and I will train it to serve me." Training your mind means saying no when you want to give in. It means pulling yourself back when your thoughts go too far. It means reminding yourself that not every emotion deserves a reaction. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll feel discouraged. That's not failure. That's practice. That's the gym for your mind. The harder the day, the stronger the muscle gets. If you keep showing up, you know life will challenge you either way. Whether your mind is trained or not, problems will come. But the difference is this. When your mind is trained, you respond with clarity, not chaos. You don't panic. You don't break down. You take a breath and you ask, what's the next right step? That's a trained mind, calm under pressure, focused under stress, clear even when everything around you is loud. People often ask, how do I stop overthinking? The answer is, you don't try to stop your thoughts. You train your attention. You choose what to feed. A weak mind feeds every fear. A strong mind chooses what to believe. And belief is powerful. What you believe shapes how you act. And how you act shapes your results. It all starts in the mind. You don't need to have all the answers today. But you do need to stop giving away your control. Don't let every doubt become a wall. Don't let every delay become a reason to quit. Don't let every mistake become your identity. You're not your past thoughts. You're not your failures. You're not your mistakes. You're whatever you decide to become from this point forward. That decision begins in your thinking. Some people spend their whole lives waiting to feel motivated. But motivation doesn't come first. Control comes first. Discipline comes first. When you decide to lead your thoughts, motivation follows. When you wake up early and choose to think clearly, energy follows. When you speak to yourself with strength, confidence follows. That's the truth. So, here's what I want you to understand. Your mind is not your enemy. It just needs direction. It just needs your leadership. And that leadership starts today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. You don't need to wait for the perfect mood. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need to decide that your future is worth more than your distractions. Start small. When a negative thought shows up, question it. When you feel afraid, remind yourself of your strength. When your mind wants to quit, choose to act anyway. These small choices create big results. That's how you take back your mind one moment at a time. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be in charge. Because when you're in charge of your mind, you start creating the life you want instead of reacting to the life you fear. You show up differently. You speak differently. You walk into rooms with clarity and calm. Not because life is easy, but because your mind is strong. So take the time to train your mind. Not just once. Every day. Take 5 minutes. Take 10. Remind yourself of who's in charge. Remind yourself that your thoughts don't define you unless you allow them to. Build that mental strength. Build that focus. Build that self-leadership, because nothing changes until your thinking changes. And once it does, everything else follows. Chapter 2. Train yourself to stay focused when life gets loud. When life gets loud, most people lose focus. Their attention scatters. Their mind starts jumping from one thing to the next. They check their phone 5 times in 10 minutes. They open apps, scroll, react, worry, complain, and by the end of the day, they feel tired but didn't move forward. That's the reality for most. But that's not how you build a strong life. You can't grow when you're constantly pulled in every direction. You can't think clearly when your environment is always louder than your thoughts. You can't stay steady when the noise controls your actions. Focus is a decision. It doesn't happen by accident. You don't suddenly become focused when everything around you calms down, because that rarely happens. Life is rarely quiet. It rarely gives you the perfect moment. There are always demands, always distractions, always things trying to pull you away from what really matters. So instead of waiting for peace, you must learn to create it inside your own head. You must train your mind to stay centered even when everything around you feels like chaos. That starts with awareness. You have to become brutally honest about how much time you lose to noise. Not just the loud sounds around you, but the noise inside you, the noise of comparison, the noise of fear, the noise of what other people think, the noise of your past mistakes. All of that clouds your ability to think straight. It makes you reactive instead of intentional. And once you lose your focus, you begin to feel like you're just surviving instead of building. That's the trap. To stay focused when life gets loud, you must first decide what matters most to you. If you don't know what's important, everything feels urgent. You'll say yes to everything. You'll respond to everything. You'll run out of energy before the day even really begins. But when you are clear on your priorities, you stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter. You don't respond to every notification. You don't chase every emotion. You start protecting your mind like it's your most valuable resource, because it is. You also need boundaries, not just with people, but with your attention. Most people have no protection around their time. They live in reaction mode. They wake up and the first thing they do is give their attention away. They check the news. They scroll through messages. They let the world decide how they should feel. That's dangerous. You're giving away control. You're allowing outside noise to dictate your inner world. And once you do that, it's very hard to get your focus back. Real focus is built through habits. You train your brain by what you do repeatedly. If you constantly let yourself get distracted, your mind learns that distraction is normal. If you allow yourself to jump from one task to another, your brain thinks that's how things should be. But if you give your full attention to one thing at a time, even for a few minutes, you begin to train the mind to stay with something. And every time you return to what matters, even after distraction, you grow stronger. Don't expect perfection. Staying focused doesn't mean you never get distracted. It means you notice faster when you drift and you come back sooner. That's the difference. You build awareness. You learn to catch your thoughts. You stop letting them run on autopilot. That's what most people never do. They drift all day, then wonder why they feel unfulfilled. They blame the world when the real issue is that they've never learned to manage their own mind. Focus also requires discipline over comfort. The world is designed to keep you comfortable and distracted. Entertainment is always available. You can avoid your problems with a swipe, a scroll, a tap. But every time you escape discomfort instead of facing it, your focus weakens, your confidence weakens, your clarity fades, because you are choosing ease over growth. And your mind starts to believe that it can avoid pressure instead of dealing with it. When you train yourself to stay focused, you stop chasing fast rewards. You stop needing constant stimulation. You get used to silence. You stop needing noise to feel okay. And in that silence, something powerful happens. You start thinking deeply. You start understanding yourself. You hear your real thoughts, not the ones that were planted by fear or noise. That's where confidence starts, not in loudness, but in clarity. You also have to understand how much your environment affects your focus. If you're surrounded by chaos, your mind will reflect that. So, be careful who and what you let near your attention. Choose your space wisely. Clean your environment. Remove what distracts you. Turn off things that don't serve your goals. People think it's a small thing, but it's not. A cluttered space creates a cluttered mind. A noisy room creates a noisy head. If you want to think clearly, make sure your space supports that. And be careful with your time. Most people waste the first few hours of their day and then try to make up for it later. But the mind is strongest when the day begins. That's when you need to set the tone. You train your mind by what you do first. If you start your day distracted, the rest of the day usually follows that pattern. But if you begin with focus, everything changes. You start moving with purpose. You start acting with direction. You also need to learn how to deal with interruptions because no matter how disciplined you are, life will interrupt you. People will demand your time. Unexpected things will happen. But the key is to not let interruptions steal your entire attention. You can pause, handle what needs to be handled, and then come back to what matters. Don't let one distraction become your whole day. That's what weak focus looks like. Getting pulled into things that don't matter and staying there too long. Strong focus means protecting your goals. It means not letting temporary things destroy long-term progress. It means asking yourself, is this helping me or hurting me? Every time something pulls at your attention, that question saves you. That question keeps you on track. You need to remind yourself daily why your focus matters. Your time is limited. Your energy is limited. What you give it to shapes your life. So stop giving it to noise. You also need rest. A tired mind can't focus. Don't confuse burnout with weakness. If your brain is always running, always processing, always under pressure, it needs space to recover. So give it time. Step away when needed. Turn off the noise. Go for a walk. Breathe deeply. Look at something still. These small resets are not a waste of time. They're how you regain strength. Above all, remind yourself that you are not here to do everything. You are here to do what matters. You don't need to respond to everyone. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to prove yourself to people who aren't even watching. You need to focus on your path. That means saying no. That means choosing silence. That means slowing down when everything tells you to speed up. You don't owe the world your attention. You owe yourself clarity. You owe yourself peace. And you only get that by training your mind to stay centered when life gets loud. That's where your strength will come from. That's where your breakthrough will happen. Not when things are easy, but when you choose focus in the middle of the noise. That's what makes you different. That's what builds power. That's what shapes a mind that can't be shaken. Chapter 3. Make time every day to think and reset. Most people never stop to think. They're always doing something, always moving, always distracted. From the moment they wake up to the moment they fall asleep, their mind is filled with tasks, noise, and reactions. But the truth is, a life without time to think is a life that runs on autopilot. You can't make good decisions when you're always in a rush. You can't grow when your mind is full of everyone else's opinions. And you can't feel at peace when your thoughts never slow down. Making time every day to think and reset isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Without it, your mind gets cloudy. You start reacting instead of choosing. You lose touch with what matters. And before you know it, you're just surviving through the day instead of building something meaningful. This is why you need to take time, deliberate quiet time, where you sit with your own thoughts and see where your mind has been going. You might be busy, but you're not too busy to think. If you have time to scroll, you have time to sit still. If you have time to talk to everyone else, you have time to talk to yourself. Your brain is not a machine you can run non-stop without consequences. It needs space to sort things out. It needs moments of stillness to reset. When you don't pause, the pressure builds. You carry tension you don't even realize. You make choices without understanding why. You lose connection with your values and begin running after distractions. You don't have to take an hour. Even 10 minutes can shift your mindset. But it has to be real thinking, not scrolling, not escaping, not numbing. Real thinking means asking yourself the hard questions. Where is my life going? What am I feeling right now? What's taking too much of my energy? What am I avoiding that needs to be faced? This kind of thinking makes you stronger. It brings awareness, and awareness is power. Resetting your mind every day keeps you from drifting. Life has a way of pulling you off track without warning. You start out with good intentions, but distractions creep in. You say yes to too much. You hold on to problems you should have let go and suddenly your day feels out of control. That's why resetting matters. It's like cleaning your mental space. You clear out the noise. You let go of what's heavy. You focus again on what matters most. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself. A few quiet moments can help you catch habits before they become patterns. You can notice when you're slipping into doubt, fear, or frustration. You can correct your course before things spiral. Most people don't do this. They wait until something breaks. But if you train yourself to think daily, you won't have to recover from breakdowns, you'll prevent them. You also build emotional control. When you think clearly, you stop letting every emotion drive your actions. You pause. You observe. You respond instead of react. That kind of control changes everything. Your relationships improve. Your decisions become wiser. Your goals become clearer. But that control doesn't show up on its own. It's built during quiet time when you're not arguing with the world, when you're not proving a point. Just sitting, reflecting, breathing, understanding. Many people say they don't have time. But it's not about time. It's about value. If you don't value your mind, your time will always go to something else. You'll give it to things that don't deserve it. But if you truly value mental clarity, you will create space for it. You'll wake up a bit earlier. You'll put the phone down. You'll choose 5 minutes of stillness over 5 hours of anxiety. This time you give yourself every day is how you build mental toughness. It's how you learn to deal with life before it overwhelms you. When you pause and think, you see things more clearly. You realize what's not working. You spot lies your mind has been telling you. You catch small problems before they turn into chaos. You stop being a slave to circumstances and start leading your life with intention. You also learn what's draining you. Most people feel exhausted not because they work too much but because they never stop carrying mental clutter. Thoughts about what they should have done, thoughts about what others said, thoughts about what might go wrong. All of it sits in the mind day after day. And because they never take time to sort it out, it keeps building. But when you take a moment to reset, you unload that weight. You breathe deeper. You gain perspective. And suddenly life feels lighter. Not because it changed, but because your mind did. This is also where your creativity comes alive. The best ideas don't come when your mind is noisy. They come when it's quiet. When you're not trying to impress, not rushing to the next thing, just sitting, reflecting, listening to your own mind. That's when solutions appear. That's when clarity hits. That's when you remember what really matters to you. But you'll miss it if you're always moving, always reacting, always filling silence with noise. There's nothing weak about needing to reset. In fact, it's one of the strongest things you can do. It takes courage to stop. It takes strength to face your own thoughts. Most people avoid it because they're afraid of what they'll find. But you can't fix what you won't face. And you can't grow if you never slow down long enough to ask yourself the real questions. You don't need a special place. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to decide that your mind is worth protecting. Sit in your room. Step outside. Find a quiet corner. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Don't run from your thoughts. Watch them. Don't fight your emotions. Understand them. That's how growth begins. That's how healing starts. This practice of thinking and resetting builds your identity. You stop being shaped by the world and start shaping yourself. You begin to live on purpose instead of by default. And as you repeat this daily, your mind becomes clearer, sharper, calmer. You stop being thrown off by little things. You stop chasing validation. You start moving from a place of strength, not stress. Over time, this habit becomes your edge. While others are lost in distractions, you're grounded. While others are burned out, you're stable. While others are full of doubt, you're certain because you've taken the time to understand yourself. You've trained your mind to pause, reflect, reset, and that ability is rare. But it's available to anyone who's willing to slow down and take it seriously. If there's one thing you do today, don't skip this. Don't wait for your mind to crash before you take care of it. Start now. Make time every day to be alone with your thoughts, to question your direction, to check your energy, to reset your focus. This is not about slowing down your life. It's about building a life that makes sense. A life that feels strong on the inside, not just busy on the outside. This is how you stay clear. This is how you stay grounded. This is how you stay in control of your path. All of it starts with one simple decision. Take the time every single day to think and reset. That's where your real strength begins. Chapter 4. Teach your brain to stop chasing useless thoughts. Most of the stress people carry comes from thoughts that don't help them. These thoughts don't solve problems. They don't bring peace. And they don't push you forward. They just circle around in your head, wasting time, stealing energy and creating emotions that lead to nothing. You sit and think about something someone said days ago. You worry about things that might never happen. You replay old mistakes over and over again. You imagine problems that aren't even real. This is what the brain does when it's untrained. It chases anything that pops up. It treats every thought as important, even when that thought has no purpose. But the truth is simple. Just because a thought shows up doesn't mean you have to follow it. The brain produces thoughts non-stop. That's its job. But your job is to decide which ones matter. If you don't make that decision, your mind will fill itself with noise. And that noise will turn into anxiety. It will turn into distraction. It will turn into mental exhaustion. Teaching your brain to stop chasing useless thoughts isn't about force. It's about understanding how your brain works. Your brain loves patterns. It repeats what you feed it. If you feed it worry, it will look for more things to worry about. If you feed it guilt, it will dig up everything you've done wrong. If you feed it drama, it will keep looking for conflict. But if you train it to look for peace, it will start to calm down. If you train it to stay in the present, it will stop jumping to the worst-case scenario. The problem is that most people let their thoughts lead the way. They never pause to ask, is this useful? They feel something and assume it must be true. They get a negative thought and believe it without question. But not every thought deserves your attention. Not every thought deserves your time. Most thoughts are just habits, old reactions, leftover fears, repeated worries. They pop up not because they are important, but because you've practiced them so many times. You have to become the filter. That means noticing the thought, pausing and asking, is this helping me? That one question can change your entire mental state. If the answer is no, then drop the thought. Don't fight it. Don't argue with it. Just stop feeding it. Move your attention somewhere else. It's not easy at first, but the more you do it, the stronger your focus becomes. Your brain is like a dog without a leash. If you don't train it, it'll chase every sound, every scent, every distraction. But with training, it learns to stay. It learns to listen. That's what you're doing when you stop chasing useless thoughts. You're teaching your brain to stay in control. One of the biggest causes of useless thoughts is fear. The brain wants to protect you. So, it imagines everything that could go wrong. It tells you stories that sound real but are built on fear, not facts. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if this all falls apart? These thoughts don't protect you. They paralyze you. And once they start running your mind, they stop you from making progress. The key is to bring your mind back to what you can control. Most thoughts that drain you are about things you can't change. What happened yesterday, what might happen tomorrow, what other people think. None of that is in your hands. But your next step, your attitude, your response, those are yours. When you remind your brain of what you can control, it starts to calm down. It stops chasing what's out of reach. You also need to understand that your thoughts affect your body. When you chase negative thoughts, your body feels it. Your chest tightens. Your shoulders get heavy. Your breathing becomes shallow. That's not in your imagination. It's real. Your brain sends signals to your body based on what it believes. That's why thinking clearly is not just about feeling better mentally. It's also about staying healthy physically. A calm mind supports a strong body. Most people try to stop their thoughts by forcing them to go away. That doesn't work. You can't block thoughts by pushing harder. The brain doesn't work that way. Instead, you replace the thought. You give your brain something better to do. You give it a useful task. You ask a better question. What's one thing I can do right now? What am I grateful for in this moment? What do I want to learn from this? These kinds of questions shift your focus. They train your brain to move from worry to action. You must also protect what your brain is exposed to. The more garbage you consume, the more garbage your mind will repeat. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, conflict, or useless information, don't be surprised when your thoughts feel chaotic. Your mental diet matters. If you want your brain to stop chasing noise, stop feeding it noise. Read things that teach you. Watch things that calm you. Listen to things that strengthen you. Your brain repeats what it hears most. So be careful what you let it hear. Give yourself daily space to clean your thoughts. Just like you brush your teeth every day. You need time to clean your mind. Sit for a few minutes in silence. Notice what's on your mind. Notice what's draining you, and then let it go. Write it down if you have to. Talk it out if it helps. But don't carry thoughts that aren't useful. Don't give space to things that don't deserve it. And if a thought keeps coming back, ask why. Most repeated thoughts come from something unresolved. Maybe you need to forgive someone. Maybe you need to make a decision. Maybe you're avoiding a truth. Deal with it. Don't push it away. Face it with honesty. And once you understand it, you can release it. This isn't about being perfect. You will still have useless thoughts from time to time. That's normal. But you don't have to follow them. You don't have to let them grow. You can choose a different focus. You can lead your thoughts instead of letting them lead you. That's real mental strength. And this practice will change how you feel every day. You'll feel lighter. You'll feel clearer. You'll feel more present. Not because life got easier, but because your mind got cleaner. You'll stop wasting energy on thoughts that lead nowhere. You'll have more space to think about what matters, more space to plan, to learn, to enjoy the moment. You get to choose what kind of mind you live with. A mind full of clutter, fear, and useless noise. Or a mind that's sharp, calm, and focused. That choice is made every day in small moments. Each time you pause and say, "No, this thought is not helpful." You take back control. Each time you shift your focus to something useful, you build mental discipline. So train your brain. Show it what to follow. Remind it of what matters. Give it direction. Your thoughts don't run your life. Your actions do. And your actions begin with the thoughts you choose to believe. Teach your brain that it doesn't have to chase everything. It only needs to chase what helps you grow, think better, and live with strength. That's how you build a mind that works for you, not against you. Chapter 5. Learn how to sit still and stay calm inside. Most people today don't know how to sit still. The moment there's silence, they reach for a screen. The moment they feel discomfort, they try to avoid it. The second they stop moving, they start feeling anxious. They confuse busyness with progress and noise with importance. But what they're really doing is running. Running from their own thoughts, running from their feelings, running from themselves. And this habit slowly destroys their peace of mind. If you never learn how to sit still, you'll always feel like something is missing. You'll chase things that don't fulfill you. You'll stay busy to avoid facing what's inside. But here's the truth. Real strength shows up when you can be alone and calm. When you can sit quietly and still feel whole. When you don't need noise to feel okay. When you don't need anyone else to feel steady. The ability to sit still is not about laziness or wasting time. It's about building control over your nervous system. When you slow your body down, your mind starts to follow. When you stop reacting, your thoughts begin to settle. And in that space, something powerful happens. You gain access to clarity. You hear what's really going on inside you. You feel the stress that's been buried under distractions. You start to understand what's driving your reactions. But most importantly, you realize you don't need to act on every feeling that passes through you. Your body and mind are connected. When your body is still, your mind has a chance to calm down. When your body is always in motion, your mind feels pressure to keep up. That's why people feel restless, even when they have nothing urgent to do. They're not used to stillness. It feels foreign. It feels uncomfortable, but it's not because it's wrong. It's because they haven't practiced it. Calmness isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. You train your nervous system to slow down. You train your heart to beat steady even when things aren't perfect. You train your breath to stay deep even when your thoughts are racing. You don't wait for peace. You build it. And the building starts when you stop trying to fill every empty moment with noise. One reason people can't sit still is because they expect constant stimulation. They've trained their brain to always need something new, a new video, a new message, a new update. And when that's not available, their mind feels bored. But boredom isn't the enemy. It's the signal that your brain is detoxing from too much stimulation. It's the signal that you need to reconnect with your own center. Not everything needs to excite you. Some things are meant to calm you, to bring you back to balance. When you learn to sit still, you become more in control of your emotions. You stop being pulled by every mood. You stop reacting to every trigger. You start noticing how you feel without getting lost in it. This builds emotional maturity. You realize that feelings are temporary. You see that anxiety comes and goes. You understand that anger can rise and fall without destroying your day. This is how you stop being ruled by emotions and start leading yourself with discipline. Stillness also teaches you patience. We live in a world that rewards speed, fast responses, quick decisions, instant results. But real change doesn't happen that way. Real growth takes time. If you can't be still, you'll give up too soon. You'll panic when things don't move fast. You'll lose faith just because progress is slow. But when you practice calm, you train your brain to wait without fear. You build trust in your process. You stop rushing what takes time to grow. Another thing stillness gives you is space, space to think, space to breathe, space to reflect. Most of us don't lack answers. We just don't give ourselves the space to hear them. We expect clarity while we're running. But clarity doesn't come in chaos. It comes in quiet. It comes when you stop trying to figure everything out and just allow your mind to settle. And once it settles, you begin to see more clearly. You make better decisions. You speak with intention. You move with direction. There's also power in not reacting. When you're calm, you don't rush to respond. You don't say something just to fill the air. You listen. You observe. You pause. And in that pause, you gain strength. People respect that. They trust a person who's not always reactive. They sense the stability. And that stability comes from stillness. Stillness doesn't mean you avoid problems. It means you handle them without panic. It means you step back before you speak. It means you breathe before you act. This is how strong people think. They don't let urgency make decisions for them. They stay calm even when others are losing control. And that calmness is built, not born. Anyone can learn to sit still and stay calm inside. You don't need special tools. You just need to commit. Start with a few minutes. Turn everything off. Sit in a chair. Put your feet flat on the ground. Close your eyes or keep them soft. Breathe through your nose. Focus on how your body feels. Listen to the sounds around you. Don't try to stop your thoughts. Just watch them. Don't follow them. Don't judge them. Just let them pass. At first, your mind will resist. It will try to distract you. It will tell you this is pointless. But that's just the noise leaving your system. That's the mental clutter rising to the surface. Keep sitting. Stay with it. Over time, it will quiet down. And when it does, you'll start feeling something you haven't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because life is perfect, but because you've stopped fighting yourself. Make this a daily habit. Give yourself 5 to 10 minutes of stillness every day. And over time, you'll notice changes. You'll feel lighter. You'll react less. You'll think more clearly. You'll start to notice how much calmer your mind feels even in the middle of pressure. This isn't a trick. It's a skill. And the more you practice it, the stronger you become. Stillness is the opposite of weakness. It's power under control. It's awareness without panic. It's the ability to stay grounded even when life gets chaotic. You can't fake that. You can't buy that. You earn it through daily practice, through choosing not to run. Through sitting with yourself and learning how to breathe through the noise. And this strength will serve you in every area of your life. In your work, you'll make sharper decisions. In your relationships, you'll communicate with more patience. In your goals, you'll move with purpose instead of pressure. You'll no longer be led by fear or noise. You'll be led by calm understanding. This is what it means to be steady, not cold, not distant, just calm, collected, focused, unshaken by temporary problems, built on something deeper than emotion or chaos. That depth comes from sitting still, from being with yourself long enough to know who you are, from learning that peace doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. And once you find it, you won't trade it for anything. Chapter 6. Feed your mind only what makes you grow stronger. Your mind is like your body. It becomes whatever you feed it every day. Most people understand this when it comes to food. They know junk food weakens the body over time. But they don't think twice about what they allow into their mind. They consume negative news, empty conversations, endless distractions, and content that adds no value. Then they wonder why they feel mentally tired, why they lack confidence, why they can't stay focused, why they keep falling into the same emotional traps. The truth is, your mental health depends on what you feed your brain. And if you want to grow stronger, you have to choose what goes in. The brain is built to learn. It's always absorbing. Even when you're not trying to learn, your mind is taking in messages, signals, words, and ideas. If you spend your time around people who complain, your brain picks that up. If you scroll through content filled with drama, your mind will start to look for the same energy in real life. If you watch things that make you feel numb or hopeless, your thoughts will start to reflect that mood. The mind copies what it sees the most. It's that simple. And most people are feeding it things that create weakness instead of strength. You grow stronger when you feed your mind ideas that challenge you, messages that build you, words that lift your thinking. It doesn't matter how smart you are. If you feed your mind with garbage, your results will reflect that. What you take in will shape how you speak, how you act, how you respond to pressure, how you handle stress. The quality of your thoughts depends on the quality of your input. And if you don't take control of that, your mind will become a sponge for whatever is around you. Whether it's good or not, you have to take this seriously. If your mind is the driver of your life, then what you feed it is the fuel. Weak fuel creates weak performance. Strong fuel gives you the power to think clearly, stay focused, and bounce back from difficulty. So ask yourself honestly, what are you feeding your mind daily? Who are you listening to? What are you watching? What do you read? What do you repeat to yourself when no one's around? All of this matters. None of it is harmless. Everything you expose yourself to leaves a mark, even if you don't notice it right away. The content you consume doesn't just stay on the surface. It forms beliefs. It creates emotional reactions. It sets the tone for how you see yourself and the world. If you listen to negativity every day, your brain will start to expect problems, not solutions. If you only hear about failure, your mind will assume success isn't possible. But if you consistently expose yourself to stories of growth, messages of strength, and content that teaches you something useful, your mindset starts to shift. You begin to think differently. You react with more control. You push yourself harder and you stop settling for things that weaken your character. Feeding your mind the right way also means being selective with your environment. That includes the people you spend time with. If someone constantly drags conversations down, constantly blames others, constantly lives in the past, your mind starts to match that tone. But if you surround yourself with people who push forward, who speak with clarity, who take responsibility for their life, you rise with them. The people you talk to regularly are shaping your thinking more than you realize. Choose them carefully. You don't need to hate anyone. You just need to protect your mind. Books, videos, podcasts, conversations, they're all food for the mind. Make sure what you're consuming is aligned with who you want to become. You don't need to read everything. You don't need to know every opinion. You don't need to absorb every emotion that others throw at you. You need to choose what helps you grow. That's the filter. If it doesn't build you, don't let it in. If it doesn't teach you, strengthen you, or help you think better, leave it out. You don't need more noise. You need more clarity. Many people treat their time like it's endless, so they consume whatever's easiest, whatever pops up next, whatever makes them feel something quick. But that habit has a cost. You pay for it with confusion, with distraction, with mental fatigue. The better choice is to slow down and ask, does this deserve my attention? When you start filtering what you feed your mind, you stop falling into emotional traps. You stop getting pulled into every argument, every trend, every panic. You start living with intention. You start feeling more in control. You'll notice something else, too. When your mind is fed the right way, your energy changes. You don't wake up with as much resistance. You don't carry around as much mental clutter. You start to see possibilities where you used to see problems. That's not magic. That's focus. That's a clean mental environment. Just like you feel better when your room is clean, you feel stronger when your thoughts are clean. And clean thoughts come from clean input. This is especially important during hard times. When life feels heavy, when things go wrong, when the future looks uncertain, that's when you need a strong mind the most. And your strength in those moments depends on the mental habits you've built. If you've been feeding your mind fear and weakness, you'll fold under pressure. But if you've been feeding it discipline, truth, and clarity, you'll stay steady. You'll know how to think through the storm instead of breaking down in it. Training your mind is a daily job. You can't do it once and expect it to last. You have to repeat it every day, just like eating, sleeping, or brushing your teeth. Consistency matters more than intensity. One strong message a day is better than hours of random content that adds no value. Small, steady input that feeds growth adds up fast. Over weeks and months, you'll notice your thoughts shifting. You'll speak with more confidence. You'll bounce back faster from setbacks. You'll make decisions with more clarity. It's also important to remember that your mind responds to repetition. If you keep feeding it the same good messages, it starts to believe them. That's how affirmations work. That's how learning works. Your brain gets better at what you repeat. So, choose messages worth repeating. Speak to yourself in a way that builds you up. Choose content that reminds you of your strength. Reinforce values that help you grow, not habits that keep you stuck. Don't leave your mental development to chance. Take control of it. Set a standard. Choose what you feed your mind the same way you choose what to eat. Be intentional. Be protective. Be honest with yourself about what helps and what hurts. And if something is weakening your focus, lowering your confidence, or making you feel small, remove it. You don't have to explain it. Just remove it. Your future depends on the strength of your mind. And the strength of your mind depends on what you give it every single day. Fill it with truth, with lessons, with direction, with values that push you forward. That's how you grow stronger. That's how you build a mindset that's prepared for anything. Feed your mind with what makes you better and your life will follow that same path. Strong, clear, focused, and full of purpose. Chapter 7. Say no to things that waste your mental energy. Your energy is limited. No matter how strong or motivated you feel, your mental strength has a daily limit. Once it runs low, your patience fades, your thinking slows down, and your decisions become weaker. This is why protecting your mental energy is not a small thing. It's everything. If your energy is drained by things that don't matter, you won't have enough left for what actually does. And that's how good people end up stuck, tired, and confused because they keep saying yes to things that don't deserve their time or attention. Mental energy is drained in small moments. You don't always notice it, but it happens every time you overthink a conversation, argue about something pointless, scroll through negative content, worry about what people think, or agree to things you don't believe in. Bit by bit, your mental strength gets pulled away. And by the time you reach what's important, you have nothing left to give. You feel overwhelmed. Not because your life is hard, but because your focus has been stolen by things that don't matter. The key is learning to say no. Not because you're rude, not because you think you're better, but because your mind needs protection. It needs boundaries. You can't say yes to everything and expect to stay clear, calm, and productive. You have to choose where your attention goes. You have to treat your mental energy like a valuable resource because it is. And if you keep wasting it, you'll keep paying the price in stress, frustration, and burnout. Saying no starts with understanding your own limits. You can't give your time to everyone. You can't solve every problem. You can't attend every event, reply to every message, or explain yourself to everyone who misunderstands you. If you try, you'll run yourself into the ground. You'll feel drained even before the day begins. And most of the time, the people or things pulling on your attention aren't even giving anything back. They're just taking. You also have to recognize what's stealing your peace. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it's the toxic conversation you tolerate. Sometimes it's the phone call you didn't need to answer. Sometimes it's the habit of checking notifications every 5 minutes. All of these are small distractions, but they build up. They take away from your ability to focus on what really brings value to your life. And the worst part is you get used to it. You start thinking it's normal to feel tired all the time. You start believing that your brain just doesn't work well. But the truth is, you're just giving your energy to the wrong things. You have to pause and ask yourself, what actually matters to me? What are my goals? What are the values I want to live by? And once you're clear on that, anything that doesn't support it becomes easier to walk away from. If it doesn't bring you peace, growth, or meaning, it's probably not worth your attention. And you don't owe anyone your energy just because they demand it. You owe it to yourself to stay mentally strong, focused, and clear. Sometimes you'll feel pressure to say yes. You'll worry that people will think you're selfish or cold. But protecting your energy is not selfish. It's responsible. You can't help others if you're drained. You can't lead if your mind is cloudy. You can't grow if your schedule is packed with distractions. The people who truly respect you will understand your boundaries. And the ones who don't were only using your time in the first place. It's also important to understand that not all effort leads to progress. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're being productive. Just because you're helping someone doesn't mean it's helping you grow. If your energy is constantly being poured into things that go nowhere, that's not generosity. That's self-neglect. You're allowed to choose rest. You're allowed to walk away from conversations that bring stress. You're allowed to keep your attention on what matters most to you. And every time you say no to something that drains you, you say yes to something that builds you. You get your energy back. You get your time back. You get your focus back. That's how you create space for better things to come into your life. But you can't attract what's good for you if your mind is always occupied with what's not. You have to clear the space first. Be honest with yourself. What do you keep saying yes to that you know deep down is not helping you? What habits are quietly stealing your attention? What people drain you without giving anything back? These are hard questions but necessary ones. Growth requires honesty. And sometimes the first step to peace is walking away from what you've been tolerating for too long. Start small. You don't have to shut the world out. Just choose one thing today you'll stop giving energy to. Maybe it's the news that makes you angry. Maybe it's the friend who only calls to complain. Maybe it's the urge to check your phone the second you wake up. Whatever it is, take one step back from it. Say no once and watch how much mental space you gain. You'll start noticing things. You'll feel more calm. You'll feel more control over your time. Your thoughts will become clearer. Your emotions will stop swinging so much. That's not a coincidence. That's the result of reclaiming your energy, of deciding that not everything deserves access to your mind. You get one brain, one focus, one life. Don't waste it on things that don't feed your purpose. Protect your mental energy like it's your future because it is. Say no to anything that pulls you away from who you want to become. Say no to guilt-driven decisions. Say no to fake urgency. Say no to trying to fix everyone else while ignoring yourself. And remember, saying no isn't rejection. It's direction. It's choosing the path that supports your growth, your health, and your clarity. It's saying, I value my mind too much to waste it. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. And it's a skill anyone can learn. Train yourself to be aware of where your energy goes. Start paying attention to how things make you feel after they're done. Do you feel drained? Do you feel scattered? Do you feel small? If so, that's a clear sign. It's not worth it. Let it go. Your time is limited, but your focus is powerful. When you stop wasting it on the wrong things, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. You'll have more patience, more clarity, more energy to pursue what really matters. That's how strong people think. That's how smart people live. They don't say yes to everything. They say yes to the right things. And it all begins with a simple decision. Say no to what drains you. Say yes to what builds you. Protect your energy. And you protect your life. That's how you stay sharp. That's how you stay clear. That's how you stay strong in a world full of noise. Chapter 8. Push yourself to do hard things without quitting. Most people stop when things get hard. They slow down, step back, or walk away the moment pressure shows up. But the truth is, everything worth having demands effort. Real growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when you choose to keep going even when you feel like quitting. That's when you build real strength, not just in your body, but in your mind. And if you train yourself to face hard things without giving up, you become the kind of person who can handle anything. Quitting is tempting because your brain is wired for comfort. When you feel discomfort, your mind looks for the quickest way out. That's normal. That's how the brain tries to protect you. But if you always give in to that, you never break past your limits. You stay where it's safe, where it's familiar, where it's easy. And after a while, you start to feel stuck. You feel disappointed in yourself. You wonder why you're not further along. But deep down, you know the reason. You've stopped pushing when it counted the most. Your brain doesn't get stronger by avoiding pressure. It grows when you push against resistance. Every time you do something difficult and finish it, you send a message to yourself. I can handle this. And that message builds your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who doesn't run away, someone who doesn't need things to be perfect before taking action. That shift in identity is what drives success, and it only comes through doing hard things repeatedly. Hard things look different for everyone. For some, it's waking up early when the bed feels too comfortable. For others, it's speaking up when fear says stay silent. It could be studying when your mind wants to scroll or working out when your body feels tired. It might be starting a business, walking away from a bad habit, or being honest with yourself. The difficulty doesn't matter. What matters is your response. The challenge is just the surface. The growth happens in your decision to keep going. You don't need to feel motivated every time. You don't need to enjoy the pain. You just need to stay consistent. Discipline means doing what you said you would do. Even when the excitement is gone, even when nobody's watching, even when your mind says stop, that voice that tells you to quit, it's not your enemy, it's your signal. It means you've reached a point where most people give up. And if you keep going, you separate yourself from the crowd. One of the strongest parts of the human mind is adaptation. You get better at what you practice. If you practice quitting, you become good at giving up. If you practice finishing, you become someone who follows through. The brain doesn't judge your actions. It simply follows the pattern. So if you want to grow, you have to break the quitting habit. You have to teach yourself that discomfort is not a stop sign. It's a doorway. And the more you walk through it, the more confident you become. There will be days when nothing feels right. You'll feel tired, frustrated, and unmotivated. That's when it counts the most. When you keep going on those days, you develop mental toughness. You learn to rely on action, not emotion. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start doing what needs to be done. And when that becomes your habit, you don't just improve your life, you change who you are. Doing hard things without quitting also builds self-respect. Every time you keep your word to yourself, your confidence grows. You don't need approval from anyone. You don't need praise or attention. You know deep inside that you've earned it. That feeling can't be faked. It comes from effort. It comes from doing what others avoid. It comes from facing something hard and saying, "I will not stop here." One of the biggest lies people believe is that if something feels hard, it's not meant for them. That's false. Difficulty is not a sign to quit. It's a sign to grow. If you give up every time something challenges you, you'll stay in the same place forever. You'll talk about your dreams but never live them. You'll make plans but never follow through. But if you choose to push yourself, even a little more each day, your entire life begins to shift. Growth doesn't happen in big leaps. It happens in small efforts repeated over time. You don't need to climb the whole mountain today. Just take one step forward, then another. Keep showing up even when you're tired. Keep pushing even when progress feels slow. The speed doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't stop. Quitting once makes it easier to quit again. Finishing once makes it easier to finish next time. Every action you take is training your future self. There will be moments when nobody understands what you're doing. They'll tell you to take it easy. They'll say it's too much. That's fine. They don't have to understand. Your journey is yours. You know why you started. You know what it means to you. And when you keep pushing through the hard times, those same people will come back one day and ask how you did it. And you'll know the answer. You didn't quit. One of the most powerful things you can learn is that your mind works for you, not the other way around. You're not a slave to your thoughts. You don't have to believe every excuse, every fear, every doubt. You can observe your thoughts. Then choose your actions. That's mental freedom. That's real strength. And it's built when you keep going through hard moments without giving in. The more you practice this, the easier it gets. The first time you push through, it feels like a battle. The 10th time, it still feels tough. But now you expect it. The 100th time it becomes part of who you are. You start to crave the challenge. You start to enjoy the test, not because it's easy, but because you know what's on the other side: growth, progress, self-respect. You'll surprise yourself. You'll realize how much strength was always there, hidden behind fear. You'll realize that most of your limits were mental, that you were capable of more than you believed, and that realization will change how you live. You'll stop settling. You'll stop doubting. You'll carry yourself differently because you've earned it. Every hard thing you face is a chance to rise, a chance to train your discipline, a chance to build your future. Don't waste it. Don't step away when it gets uncomfortable. That's the exact moment when you need to stay with it. Keep pushing. Keep showing up. Keep proving to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. You're not here to live a small, easy life. You're here to grow, to build, to leave something behind. And that starts by doing what others won't. By staying in the game when others quit. By choosing effort over ease. Every single day is another chance to train your mind, your body, and your spirit to be unshakable. And it all comes down to one rule. Push yourself to do hard things without quitting. That's how you change your life. That's how you build a mindset that nothing can break. Chapter 9: Build strong habits that help you stay sharp daily. Your life is a reflection of your habits. The things you do every day without even thinking are what shape your results. Most people believe that success comes from big decisions or special moments. But that's not true. Success is built through small actions repeated with discipline. If you want to stay mentally sharp, clear, and focused, you need habits that support that goal. You can't rely on motivation alone. Motivation fades. Habits stay. Your brain is designed to automate things. It wants to save energy. So when you repeat something enough times, your brain turns it into a routine. It stops thinking about it. That's helpful if the habit is good. But if the habit is weak, lazy, or unproductive, your brain will still automate it. That's why some people wake up and reach for their phone without thinking. Why others delay important tasks until the last minute. Why many feel tired before the day even begins. Their habits are working against them. Building strong habits doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It means choosing the right actions and doing them consistently. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to pick a few things that matter and repeat them every day. These are the habits that sharpen your mind, protect your energy, and keep you moving forward even when life feels heavy. Your brain responds well to structure. When you give it a plan, it follows. When your day has no shape, your mind wanders. You spend more time thinking about what to do than actually doing it. That's how you lose focus. That's how your mind gets tired. You burn energy on indecision and distraction. But when you start your day with strong habits, you reduce that stress. You know what to expect. You know what to do. That structure builds clarity and mental strength. The first habit you should build is taking control of your morning. What you do in the first hour sets the tone for the rest of the day. If you start with something easy and passive, your brain stays in that mode. But if you start with something that requires intention, reading, moving your body, planning your goals, your brain wakes up. It becomes alert. It starts the day on purpose instead of by accident. Another important habit is protecting your focus. You can't stay sharp if you're constantly switching tasks or checking your phone. Multitasking weakens the brain. It trains your mind to be scattered. To stay sharp, you need to do one thing at a time. You need to give your full attention to the task in front of you. That builds mental discipline. It trains your brain to stay with something until it's complete. And over time, that focus becomes a superpower. Daily movement is also a habit that improves mental sharpness. When you move your body, you increase blood flow to your brain. You release tension. You reset your emotions. It doesn't have to be a long workout. Even a short walk or a few minutes of stretching can make a difference. What matters is consistency. Movement keeps your brain awake and your energy high. It reminds your body and mind that you are alive and in control. What you feed your mind each day is just as important as what you feed your body. If you start your day by consuming negativity, gossip, or useless content, your thoughts become dull. Your energy drops, your creativity fades. But if you make it a habit to read something useful, listen to a message that uplifts you, or write down your thoughts, your mind becomes stronger. You start thinking in a better direction. You start expecting more from yourself. This isn't about being perfect. It's about feeding your brain with quality information every single day. Another key habit is finishing what you start. When you leave things half done, your brain stays busy. It keeps thinking about the task. It holds on to it. That's how you build mental clutter. But when you finish something, even something small, you close a loop. You free up mental space. You build trust in yourself. You show your brain that you follow through. That habit repeated daily builds serious confidence. You stop doubting. You stop hesitating. You start moving forward with clarity. Reflection is another habit that sharpens your thinking. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to ask yourself what went well and what didn't. Don't judge. Just observe. This helps you catch patterns. You see where you're wasting time. You learn what triggers your distractions. You notice when your energy drops. This awareness is how you improve. It's how you make small adjustments that lead to big results. Most people skip this step. They live without thinking. But you're here to live on purpose. And purpose starts with paying attention. You also need the habit of saying no. Every yes is a commitment of your energy. If you say yes to everything, you say no to focus. You say no to rest. You say no to growth. You must protect your time like it matters because it does. Every day people will try to pull you in different directions. If you don't have strong habits, you'll say yes out of guilt or fear. But when your habits are in place, your priorities become clear. You no longer bend to everything. You stay centered. Small habits often get ignored because they don't give quick results. But long-term sharpness is built through them. You don't notice the impact right away. But after a few weeks, you feel more energy. After a few months, your thinking becomes clearer. After a year, your life looks different. That's how change happens. Slow, steady, and permanent. Not because of big moments, but because of daily discipline. And remember, it's not about being strict, it's about being smart. Your habits should work for you, not against you. They should support your energy, not drain it. That's why you need to keep it simple. You don't need 10 new habits. Start with 2 or 3. Stick with them. Make them part of your identity, then build from there. Your habits are your invisible support system. When life gets hard, your habits carry you through. When motivation fades, your habits keep you steady. When doubt shows up, your habits remind you of your discipline. That's how you stay sharp, by relying on actions you've trained yourself to repeat no matter how you feel. Your brain wants to be sharp. It wants to perform well, but it can't do that if you don't give it the right support. That support comes from structure, from consistency, from choosing what matters over what's easy. When your habits are strong, your mind becomes a tool you can rely on. You stop feeling lost. You stop second-guessing. You start acting with purpose. Every day you have a choice. Let the day control you or take control of the day. The habits you build decide which path you take. Build habits that sharpen your thinking. Protect your time and strengthen your focus. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for a better mood. Build the habit and the strength will follow. That's how you train your mind to stay sharp every single day. Chapter 10. Keep showing up until your mind works for you. There's a point in everyone's life when the mind feels like the enemy. It tells you that you're not good enough. It fills your head with doubt, fear, and excuses. It pulls you away from what you know you should be doing. It convinces you to stop, to delay, or to wait for a better moment. But the truth is, your mind is not against you. It's just not trained yet. And the only way to change that is to keep showing up. Even when it feels pointless, even when progress is slow, even when your thoughts are heavy, you don't wait for your mind to get strong. You train it through action, through repetition, through discipline. You show up again and again until your mind learns that you are in charge. The human brain follows patterns. It believes what you repeat. If you constantly give in to fear or hesitation, your mind will assume that's the way things work. It will build that pattern into your thinking. But if you show up daily, whether you feel ready or not, your mind starts to notice. It begins to adjust. It starts to understand that quitting is no longer an option. That kind of repetition sends a powerful message to your own system. We keep going no matter what. Most people quit too soon. They stop just before things start to change. They get discouraged because their thoughts still feel negative because they still feel uncertain. But your mind doesn't flip a switch overnight. It's like a muscle. You train it by doing the work consistently. And in the beginning, the work is hard. You won't always see the result right away. But that doesn't mean it's not working. Every time you show up when it's uncomfortable, you take back a little more control. Every small action chips away at the weakness. You won't feel confident every day. Some days you'll wake up and everything in you will want to stop. Your thoughts will be loud. Your energy will feel low. But those are the exact moments when showing up matters most. Not because the result will be instant, but because you're teaching your mind something new. You're saying, I move forward even when it's tough. That message rewires the way you think. It replaces hesitation with discipline. It replaces fear with self-respect. And that's when the shift begins. The mistake people make is believing they have to feel ready before they act. But the truth is action changes how you feel. You don't wait for your mind to give you permission. You act and your mind follows. That's how you build control. That's how you stop being reactive. You stop asking how you feel about it and start doing what needs to be done. The more you do this, the less control your emotions have over you. You become someone who takes the lead instead of someone who gets dragged by doubt. There's a difference between pushing yourself and punishing yourself. This is not about being hard on yourself. It's about being honest. If your mind is full of confusion or weakness, the only way out is to show it a new way. You can't talk yourself into a stronger mindset. You have to build it with action. You show up every day and do what you can with what you have. That consistency creates trust, not just with others, but with yourself. You start to believe in your ability to handle things because you've seen yourself do it before. Think about any skill you've ever learned. At first, you struggled. You made mistakes. You felt frustrated, but you didn't stop. You kept showing up and slowly it got easier. Your brain began to adapt. That same process works with mental habits. At first, staying focused is hard. Managing your emotions is hard. Thinking clearly under pressure is hard. But if you stay with it, your brain starts to understand. It rewires. It learns. And eventually it begins to work in your favor. One of the strongest habits you can build is to act no matter how you feel. That doesn't mean you ignore your emotions. It means you don't let them decide everything. You learn to sit with discomfort without running. You learn to take the next step even when the future is unclear. You build a steady rhythm that doesn't depend on excitement or comfort. That's how mental strength is built through repetition, not reaction. It's also important to track your progress in ways that matter. Don't only look at results. Results take time. Pay attention to your discipline. Pay attention to your consistency. Did you show up today when you didn't want to? Did you take action even when it felt boring or hard? Those are wins. Those are moments that shape your mind. Celebrate them. Use them as proof that you're moving in the right direction. Because when your mind sees progress, it becomes easier to keep going. Every time you show up, even for a few minutes, you break the habit of avoidance. You stop running from effort. You stop choosing comfort over growth. You start choosing the future you want over the mood you're in. And as this becomes normal, your mind begins to support you. It stops fighting you. It starts showing you possibilities instead of problems. That's when things begin to shift. Not because the world changed, but because your mindset did. This work isn't easy, but it's worth it. Because once your mind starts working for you, everything else becomes easier. You don't waste energy on doubt. You don't get stuck in fear. You don't keep going back and forth on decisions. You move forward with clarity. You stay calm in pressure. You bounce back from failure. That strength becomes your edge. And it's something you earn, not something you're born with. There will always be challenges. There will always be distractions. But once your mind is trained, you stop getting thrown off by every obstacle. You start trusting your process. You know that no matter how hard it gets, you can handle it because you've been showing up day after day, because you've built that habit, because you didn't stop when it was uncomfortable. And that's the lesson most people miss. They want results without the process. They want change without discipline. But the mind doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to what you repeat. So repeat what makes you stronger. Keep showing up. Keep proving to yourself that you're serious. Over time, your thoughts will begin to shift. Your reactions will change. Your self-talk will improve. And that's when you know you've trained your mind to work for you, not against you. The most powerful mindset is not one that avoids problems. It's one that faces them without quitting. It's built through daily effort, through making the hard choices, through pushing forward when nothing feels easy. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fast. You just need to keep showing up until the work becomes normal. Until the hard things become habits, until your thoughts start helping you instead of hurting you. That's how you win. That's how you take full control. That's how your mind becomes your strongest tool instead of your biggest obstacle.